Every month, a bunch of weird stuff happens, and every month, gameranx collects it all together, and at the end of the month, we share our hoard of weirdness. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the weird gaming stories of July 2024. At number 10, we found out that AMD pretty much is around still because of the PS4. So we found this out through Renato Fragal. Not sure if that's how to say his name. Probably isn't. So apologies to him. He's the senior director of the consumer and gaming client business at AMD. And back in the day, when the PS4 was just a glimmer in Sony's eye, they approached AMD, who was near bankruptcy. Their stock price was actually as low as $1.87. This was around the 2008 financial crash, so understand that it wasn't just that AMD was a bad company or anything. Like, a lot of people were in dire straits here, but Sony approached them and said, hey, we need some chips, and we don't mean tortillas. If you dip the kind of chip that we want in salsa, it's going to screw up the most popular gaming console in the last decade. Now, if that was how they approached them, Renato would have probably thought Sony's gone completely insane from this financial crisis. But he managed the 15-person product development team for the PS4, and the PS4 has sold over 91 million units to date. On his work experience, he notes that it is viewed as one of the most successful launches in AMD history and helped AMD avoid bankruptcy. Now, most of us aren't really thinking about companies' financial situations from over a decade ago, but the fact is, if you look into it, that's extremely likely to be completely true, which is crazy. AMD, like the main non-NVIDIA chip company. At number 9, Xbox revealed an official Deadpool controller with butt cheeks on the back, and, well, I get it. I understand why. It's probably the perfect tie-in advertisement / fun collectible for Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, that's true. And also, it's actually somewhat surprising that we have never gotten a controller with a butt on the back. I'm actually kind of shocked by that. Now, there are a number of jokes I could make that involve butts, cracks, holes, buttons, touchpads, but I will refrain from at least fully making those jokes. I mean, I kind of just made them. But, I mean, very rarely do they make joke controllers. That's not normal. And even less normal is the idea that they would make a joke controller to promote a movie. It's a good movie tie-in, honestly, and it says designed by Deadpool on the little advertisement that they have for it. I wish that it wasn't weird that people paid money for what is essentially an advertisement. That's not the weird part about this controller at all, though. That's actually pretty normal. People buy t-shirts that essentially make them into walking billboards for stuff all the time. And you can't tell me that somebody sitting there playing an Xbox game with the butt controller isn't going to remember to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. Isn't going to just constantly think about Deadpool and Wolverine as they look down at their, frankly, really cool-looking controller other than the butt. Like, I like everything about the controller but the butt. Like, in all seriousness, the texture on it, to me, makes it seem like it might be a somewhat superior controller with a little more grip. I hope the butt's removable or something. Wow, that's a weird sentence. Moving on to number 8, CDPR actually hired an Estonian beetroot farmer living in Australia because he was making a mod where he was porting The Witcher 1 to The Witcher 3. You understand why this is being mentioned in a Weird Stories video, right? That sentence is absurd. Is Estonia so bad that beetroot farming in Australia is a preferable alternative? Is there no farming in Estonia? Like, there has to be farming in Estonia. Let me just Google that real. It's 15% of Estonia's GDP. That's not something to sneeze at. That's plenty. Like, couldn't he go farm there? Or is it just lame? Like, is beetroot way cooler? I don't know. If I ever meet Ario Verendi, that's what I'll have to ask him. Why Australia? I don't have to ask him why he was porting The Witcher 1 to The Witcher 3. The Witcher 1 is a cool story. That's kind of where the cool things end. Witcher 1's it's fun for a very different reason than Witcher 3. It's kind of a janky mess. It makes perfect sense that they would be remaking the original game as an open world game. That's a great idea, because it's one of those games where I can't really go back to it. It's just so below par by today's standards, or The Witcher 3 standards for that matter. Our beetroot farming friend is a story narrative developer now at CDPR. That's pretty badass. From humble beginnings, right? Moving on to number 7, the Outlast Trials has updated with what they are calling Project Lupara. I will read you the official description of it before I make any commentary. Project Lupara adds a new map and a haunting new villain to the co-op horror game, all in a free update. Now, it's good that it's a free update. Good that there's a new map. But haunting? That guy looks like Jimmy Neutron. And like, Jimmy Neutron is technically like maybe even a little more threatening, because Jimmy Neutron doesn't carry around a pacifier. The voiceover in the trailer for Project Lupara is, I think, particularly odd. It talks about how this new enemy, named Franco Barbie, was given a gun but not real ammunition, and that he made his own. And then they say the phrase "baby is teething," and like, you know, if the context were a little bit different, if the enemy didn't look like spooky Jimmy Neutron, I think maybe the line would work a little better, but it doesn't. Spooky Jimmy Neutron. I'm sorry, I'm not buying Spooky Jimmy Neutron. Fortunately, it's free, so I don't have to buy him. At number 6, Game Mill. Yes, the Game Mill, the publishers of Walking Dead Destinies and Skull Island Rise of Kong. Those games have put out a trailer for a side-scrolling brawler based on Karate Kid called The Karate Kid Street Rumble. Now, that's not weird in the least. Game Mill cranks out the games. That's the point of a mill, right? They're publishing so many games, man. But here's what's weird. This game looks good, and like, not potentially good. Somebody who plays beat 'em ups can watch this trailer, and if it plays like this trailer represents it to be playing, that is to say, they didn't just elaborately animate something that looks good and appears to move the right way, which I think would be more trouble than setting up controls and just recording some footage after making a game. It looks good, like really good. So that leads to the question, what? Why is Game Mill doing something that doesn't suck? That seems weird. Well, I would hope the lambasting that they got last year made them go, actually, you know what? As a game publisher, we should invest in games that people want to play, as opposed to the cheapest, crappiest things we can find that have recognizable names attached to them. Maybe that might work better. I hope that's why this is being made. I can't tell you for sure. In order to, know if it's that, we are going to have to pay attention to what comes out of the Game Mill. If it's good games, then keep on milling, guys. At number 5, they announced a Quiet Place game, which, I mean, isn't weird in of itself. A Quiet Place is a very big franchise at this point. To make a game seems like it makes sense, but the game just bypasses one very easy to incorporate component that you'd think would be a no-brainer for the Quiet Place franchise. Like, if you made it into a game, you'd probably do this one thing. Use the fact that there's a microphone in pretty much every controller now. Even if not required, maybe make it an option, make it something people can do to make the game a lot tougher. And then slightly less obvious, but not a lot less obvious, mega multiplayer. Seems like they missed on both counts. Instead, we're getting the story of a young woman who is dealing with interpersonal family conflicts during the Quiet Place invasion. Which I'm sorry, like, the description on this is just, it's funny. Oh, there's aliens now, and you have to be dead silent, otherwise they can find you and kill you. Oh no, but I'm gonna have a baby in 9 months. Certainly I will not be able to prepare for that. I have interpersonal family conflicts to attend to, aliens. Please, don't alien isolation me. I have interpersonal family conflicts. Ah, dang, I'm being alien isolationed. I mean, to be fair, if it is not just some dumb tie-in game that seems to miss the point, if they actually did make it like an alien isolation type game, and it actually functioned on that level, or even a little bit less than that level with more level variety, because it is a narrative adventure, that'd be good. I'd accept that, but I got a feeling, I'll bet it's not that. I'll bet it wants to look like that, but I'll bet it's not that. At number 4, Intel's 13th and 14th gen CPUs have a big flaw in them, and guess what? There's no fix. Well, there's no fix if it has already started crashing. If it hasn't, then there is going to be a fix. But I have a feeling most people who have been using one of these CPUs without any crashes are like, all right, fine, it's a patch. Whereas all of the people who have experienced this crashing and find out that the crashing is now a permanent feature of the chip inside of their computer, AMD confirmed that part of the problem, in fact, the primary aspect of the problem, is voltages exceeding what the CPU can handle, and that is what they're basically fixing with the patch. But I don't know if you know this, if you send way too much electricity through something, whatever happens from that doesn't unhappen when you fix the software that caused it. So, I don't know. Are they going to recall the chips? I think that they should. Like, if you recall, when something similar happened with the Xbox 360s, yes, this is actually pretty similar to the Red Ring of Death. Microsoft just replaced all of them because there wasn't anything they could do about it other than that. It's looking like that's the case for anybody who has started to experience these crashes. It's just going to happen. But unfortunately, just because they should doesn't mean they will. The Verge actually emailed Thomas Hannaford, who is the spokesperson of Intel, and his answer to the question, will Intel issue a recall, was a very simple and straightforward no. So I don't love that. I think maybe more people need to make the connection that it's very much like if Xbox just was like, well, you're on your own with that Red Ring of Death. And number 3, George R.R. Martin knows nothing about an Elden Ring TV show or film, but he said it in a way that implies he knows something about that. Hidetaka Miyazaki recently gave a fairly extensive interview where he talked about, sucking at video games and et cetera, et cetera. We've talked about it, but something that he said, which was less interesting when he said it, was when he was asked about whether or not it would be adapted to another medium in The Guardian. He said it would have to be with a trusted partner who knew what they were doing because they don't know how to produce something in a different medium. Which sounds like, I'm open to it, but I got no idea. Well, give it a little bit of time, and old George R.R. Martin, who helped write all the lore for Elden Ring, he comes out and says the following. Oh, and about those rumors you may have heard about a feature film or television series based on Elden Ring, I have nothing to say. Now, first off, I'll say this. I have not heard rumors of a feature film or a television series based on Elden Ring. Georgie, you're the one bringing this up. But he continues with, not a word. Nope, not a thing. I know nothing. You never heard a peep from me. Mum, what rumor? This leads me to question if George R.R. Martin is getting enough attention, because wowie, that's fishing. But also, this makes a much more intriguing situation regarding an adaptation to another medium. A person heavily involved in its creation is basically like begging to be able to say something about its adaptation in another medium. I don't know. I think keep your eyes open on this one. There's probably something to it. Moving on to number 2, allegedly 343 Industries has been downsized considerably, and Microsoft is apparently going to outsource future Halo titles significantly more. Now, it does come from somebody who is regarded as sharing legitimate information on Halo titles leaked from reliable sources. So, I mean, it's probably not so much wild speculation, but also none of this is confirmed, so obviously don't take it as something that's confirmed. But apparently they downsized from about 500 employees to less than 280, and they let go of between 50 and 60 contractors. That's from 2023 to now. Allegedly, who is left is going to oversee future Halo projects, which they're outsourcing. I don't know exactly what that means, but apparently only 30% of 343 Industry staff is in active development of anything. And apparently not a whole lot of it is actual programming. It's more like project management type stuff, production-oriented type stuff, the business of making games and the coordination of keeping people on task. Apparently it's due to Microsoft having stricter budgets, which, makes sense. This generation of Xbox wasn't exactly the license to print money that some previous Xboxes have been. But you wouldn't think Halo would be the thing that they would do this with. And finally, at number 1, Capcom has reportedly made $28,000 off of Resident Evil 7 on iOS. Yes, less than $30,000. The game's been downloaded 83,000 times, and of that 83,000 downloads, about 2,000 have converted to paying customers. The game's model is you can download it and play it a little, and then to unlock the full game, it costs $20, which isn't bad for a AAA, frankly, great game. I don't know how good it is to play on iOS. I don't have an iPhone, so I have no idea. But, I mean, that's god-awful. Like, that is... there's no chance it cost them $28,000 to port the game over to the iPhone. Like, you're probably talking hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million to do something like that. I don't know exactly how much has to be done. I mean, Resident Evil 7 operates on the Resident Evil engine, so it's not like they can just plop it on there using Unreal, which Unreal is an engine that it makes cross-platform stuff much, much easier. I don't know what the Resident Evil engine does in terms of that, but the only way this could make any sense at all is if Apple is like, we're going to give you a bunch of money. You're going to profit whether you sell this game or not. We want this game on our platform. I have to imagine that is the case. Would make sense if they're trying to make iPhone seem like it can play AAA games. Having it play Resident Evil 7, probably a good idea, even if it's just a tech demo. I mean, that's impressive. It's on a phone. It's on a little screen in your pocket. You can play Resident Evil 7. That's impressive. It's just people don't seem particularly excited about it. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.